Alright, now we're going to look at solving systems of equations. And a system of equations is just solving with two equations. And we've done this already, but we did it by graphing. And so when we graphed, we have one line, and then another line, and where they crossed, that point, x comma y, was our solution. And we could do that with these. We could solve them for y and then graph them, but sometimes we can just solve it algebraically and we don't need to do a graph. And so you can see in the title, we're looking at opposites. And when we solve systems using elimination, we need opposites. And so if you notice, we have -4, +4, and so since those are opposites, that allows us to take these two equations and add them together. So -4 and +4, they become 0, and so they just go away. You don't even need to write the 0. So 4 plus 6 gives us 10y equals 20. And so now I need to figure out what y is. And so we divide both sides by 10. And so we get y equals 2. So remember, we are still talking about two lines that cross, and so our answer has to be an x comma y. And right now, I only have the y. I know that y is 2. So to figure out what the x is, I need to go back to my equations and just substitute that 2 in. You can choose either one. I think I'm going to use the bottom equation. So the 4x plus 6y. Now instead of writing y, I'm going to write what y is, and y is 2. So let's simplify this, and we get 4x plus 12 equals 4. And so now we solve for x. So we have positive 12, so we minus 12 to both sides. So you need to be really careful when you start working with positive and negatives. On the left we get 4x. So now here we have different signs. So whenever we have different signs, we take the sign of the bigger number. So right now I have 4 positives, but I have 12 negatives. So my answer is going to be negative. And whenever the signs are different, you subtract. So in your head or off to the side, you just need to do 12 minus 4, and 12 minus 4 is 8. So 4 minus 12, or 4 plus -12, will equal -8. Now we divide both sides by the number in front of x. So we divide by 4, divide by 4, and so these go away, become 1 really. X equals a negative divided by this positive equals a negative, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. Now we get -2, +2. So that's our answer. To be 100% sure, what you could do is you could take that -2 and replace it here. Now don't use the equation you already used. We use the bottom one, use the top one. So if I take -2 and I put it where the x is, -4 times -2 is +8. And now I take this 2 and put it here where the y is. 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 plus 8 equals 16. So I just made sure that I got this problem correct. So this will be 1A. Please do 1B on your own. Look at, you have plenty of work to show, so you got to make sure you have all the work, and you're going to write your answer as an ordered pair. Alright, the next example, 2A. You'll do 2B on your own in just a minute. So the first thing is, do we have opposites? And so here we have a -1, -2, so those are not opposites. So here we have a positive 3y, a negative 3y, so we have our opposites already. So that means that's going to allow us to add these up. The y's are going to go away. And so when you have a negative x, that's like saying you have -1. Now when both signs are negative, you keep the negative, and now 1 plus 2 gives us 3. So -3x equals, like before, now I have different signs. So I have 4 positives, and I have 16 negatives. That means my answer is going to be negative. And so now the signs are different, so you subtract. So in your head, or off to the side, you do 16 minus 4, which is 12. So -16 plus 4 is -12. Now we divide both sides by that -3. negative 3. So negative divided by negative over here becomes just a positive 1x, but we don't write the 1. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and you don't need to write the positive, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. So remember, we are looking for an answer as x comma y, so right now I'm only halfway done. I got to figure out what the y is. And so look here and figure out which equation you want to use. It doesn't matter. I'm going to use the bottom one. And so negative 2 x, so instead of writing the x, I'll write what x is. X is 4 minus a 3y equals 4. Now we simplify and we get negative 8 minus a 3y equals 4. And now we're trying to get the y by itself. So we add 8 to both sides. These go away. And we get negative 3y equals 12. Divide both sides by negative 3. And we get y equals, here we have a positive divided by a negative, which is a negative, and 12 divided by 3, which is 4. So I think my answer is 4 and negative 4. If we wanted to make sure, we would take this and plug it in. If I wanted to check it, I'm going to use the top equation. I'm going to write negative, and my x is 4, so it should be negative 4 plus 3 times my y, which is negative 4. We want to see, does that equal negative 16? So I get negative 4 minus 3 times negative 4 is 12. We have a negative negative, it does equal negative 16, so our answer is correct. So if you take that quick 10 seconds to check your answer, you can make sure you get an A on the next test. Alright, try 2B on your own.